We can move on now. So welcome everyone to the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, February the 8th. And it is a beautiful day out. If you looked at your way in here with the sun, we got to be really blessed and thankful for what we have. And we're going to start out with an invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. But I'd like to tell you that Ottawa County seeks to be a warming place where you belong, recognizing that we are a county of many different faiths and traditions. Our invocation today is offered from one of those perspectives. I will now ask Commissioner Zylstra to introduce today's invocation guest.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that. Today we have Johnny Rodriguez, who, in addition to being Executive Director of Latin Americans United for Progress in Holland, is also a worship leader at Boulevard Church in the city of Holland.
All right.
If we can bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life. We thank you that your mercies are new every day, Father. We thank you that you are good. Father, we give you thanks that you are faithful even when we fall short in our flesh, Father. We just ask that you be with us today, that as this important meeting and discussion, planning, procedure is taking place, that you will be in this place, that your will be done, that you will be with each county commissioner and those that are in this meeting and speaking today, that we can be connected, that we can become as one and work together to advance our city, our community, and our state for all people. And we be quick to give you all the honor and glory, Father, in your heaven, and we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Garcia. Here. Mr. Bautman. Here. Mr. Zylstra.
Here.
Mr. Dannenberg.
Here.
Mr. Meppelink. Here. Mr. Terpstra.
Here.
Mr. Holtvluwer.
Present.
Mr. DeYoung. Here. Mr. Kyers.
Here.
Mr. Bergman.
Here.
And Mr. Fenske.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Presentation and communications from your office.
None from us.
The first item that we have is our Outstanding Customer Service Award for the fourth quarter. And I'm going to ask Deputy Michael DeVito to please go to the podium. Deputy DeVito, he was dispatched to Howland Township for a dog that had been hit. And he spent a lot of time with the folks there. The dog owner contacted the Sheriff's Department and commended Deputy DeVito for going above and beyond the call of duty. He began to be compassionate and praying with the family. And he spent quite a bit of time trying to comfort them, because you know what it's like when you lose your dog. So the family stated that Deputy DeVito is an asset to our agency and to the community in which he serves. Now, he not only serves Ottawa County, he serves the state of Michigan, because in a few weeks, he's going to be doing guard duty starting, I believe, February the 18th for about 3 weeks. So the man is busy protecting our community, protecting us here in Ottawa County, and making sure that things are taken care of. So give a hand to Deputy. Much appreciated. Thank you. We have three presentations, and the next is you've heard by Johnny Rodriguez. He's the Executive Director for Latin American United for Progress, LAUP in Holland. So we've asked him here. He just became the Executive Director to kind of give a little summary and overview.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this time and allowing me to introduce myself as the new ED for Latin Americans United for Progress. One of the mistakes I've been doing early on is that I just assume everybody knows what LAUP is and what we've been doing for many years that we've been around. So I'll just share briefly of what we do and our impact in our community here. So our mission is to empower Latinos to participate in creating a better community for all. And we do that through advocacy, education, and celebration. Some of our programming that we have is targeted towards adults and youth. For our adults, we have citizenship classes. That is a 10-week course that we prepare them for the 100 questions that are on the citizenship test. We also do GED in Spanish and ESL as well. For our youth programming, we have Adelante program, which is 9th and 10th grade, and Más Adelante. And Adelante means moving ahead, moving forward, and Más Adelante means moving further ahead. But really it's based in this foundation of college readiness, career readiness, career exploration in those programs. We're also identifying scholarships, grants, volunteer opportunities as well, and working through applying in FAFSA. And if you've ever had to do a FAFSA form before, they're complicated. So we are doing that in our community. Some of the services we provide for our community is document translation, interpretation and interpretive services, and navigating social systems. So the community will come to LAUP in need of these things. We're also moving in the vaccine equity space, voting workshop, and we will be bringing a financial literacy program as well as an initiative for 2022. So that's what's going on. And we know in our community that Latinos, not only in our city, in our county, our state and our country, they are part of the backbone of the economy of this country, and annually or have brought in and contribute to $48.4 billion. And that's not including farm workers. So it is very important to focus and support this community. And we also know that this community is also going to continue to grow over the next 5 years. And so we're super excited. I'm very passionate and excited to be in this role. And we're grateful for the Ottawa County employees that do support LAUP right now and volunteer opportunities, financial contributions, and just, through our special events and opportunities to give back. So that's a little bit more about LAUP. And I grew up in Holland, migrant family. We started in the city mission, and my parents were able to gain gainful employment and provide some opportunities for us right here in Holland. And I'm so glad to be able to give back to our community in this space as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just say a couple of things.
Absolutely.
Right, I happen to know Johnny since middle school. I was the I was the middle school principal when Johnny was in middle school. I think it was at West Middle School, and then over at the high school as well. He was a.
I was expelled my 7th grade year.
But I wasn't going to mention that. I wasn't going to mention that because I was the one who did that, actually. But it was a case where Johnny was helping a friend, and it was a case where I brought in the parents, and the parents were very cooperative. But I was going to say that Johnny is, one of the most outstanding young men that I had, not only in middle school but in high school, and he was a great basketball player as well at Holland High. Johnny, I was not going to mention that.
It's important and it's part of my story. And the 90s were crazy here at Holland, and growing up with just, this is why I'm so passionate. And I know other people can get around this, but Mr. Garcia, you're somebody that I look up to. So thank you very much. And, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Over the weekend, I sent out something from the emergency management department here, and for you to kind of have a preview look. And so I've asked Mr. Lou Hunt from our director of the emergency management division here to come up and just kind of highlight some of those from the report from our region here.
Thank you, Chair Fenske and Vice Chair Dannenberg, all you commissioners. Appreciate a few moments to talk about the hazard mitigation plan. It's about an 800-page document. It's about a year's worth of effort. So there's a lot there. Glad we put out the executive summary to kind of help you wade through that. Hopefully I can take a few minutes to kind of expand on that. The hazard mitigation plan really is a plan. It's a guidance plan for us here in Ottawa to help avoid and reduce risk in Ottawa County. It's called the hazard mitigation plan, but mitigation in this context is simply avoiding and reducing risk for us. It is a regional plan. We do it in conjunction with Kent County, the city of Grand Rapids, and all the included jurisdictions as well. It's a 5-year plan. So the last time it was updated here in Ottawa was 2017. So we would have been expiring here mid-2022, but we're ahead of that game, and we're actually getting into the final stages of it. It's a document that's also required by the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. So for us to be eligible as a county and our included jurisdictions for pre and post hazard mitigation grant monies, we have to have a FEMA approved hazard mitigation plan. So we're right in line with all of that. It is available on kentottawahmp.com. There's a draft of that plan on there. There's also on that website the link to a virtual town hall meeting that we have tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. It's really where we get a lot of feedback from the public on that. So it'll be about an hour, 6:30 to 7:30. Again, that's on kentottawahmp.com. When we started this, we decided we would again do it regionally. We contracted a company called ASTI Environmental to help us through this process. They've been very helpful to us. It's really been a community effort as well. So we've had a lot of surveys. We've had some workshops. We have an advisory committee for the hazard mitigation plan. John Shea, for example, was on that committee and has been participating with us for the last year. It's been good to get a lot of stakeholder input. The process really is to start with risk assessment for our county. So the idea is to look at past hazards that have happened in Ottawa, what is predictably going to happen in the future, and then to weigh those with how often do they happen? How severely are we impacted? Does it involve life safety? Do a lot of people get impacted? What does that recovery process look like? Does it take a long time? So in doing that, again, through surveys and workshops, we identified 4 top hazards that really involve the most risk for us here in Ottawa County when you take a lot of those things into account. There was public health emergencies, flooding and erosion, infrastructure failure, and severe weather. Again, there's all kinds of other potential hazards out there that we have here in Ottawa, and all of them have a risk for us as well. But when you took everything into combination, these were our top 4. The second part of the initiative is to look at what are some of the ways that we can mitigate those risks. So simply, there are hazards we can't avoid, but can we do some things proactively so the effects are going to be lessened? All of us kind of do mitigation in our own lives in a severe thunderstorm in the summer. If we get, early notification of that severe thunderstorm, we might go out onto our patio and bring in our patio furniture. Simply, we're doing hazard mitigation because the hazard's going to come, but we are decreasing some of those effects by not having our patio furniture blow away and get destroyed. In doing that, we came to really 4 hazard mitigation strategies. And this stuff is really written very broadly because, again, we want to appeal and be able to compete for different grants that might come down the road from FEMA. And we need to have some of these really part of that. One is promoting life and safety through education and awareness. So education would be like preparedness information. Awareness would be early notification of storms, things like that. Reduce loss and life of property with structure and infrastructure improvement. Generators could be a good example of that. Generators at lift stations for moving floodwaters and sewer waters and stuff like that around. Minimizing damage by preserving and restoring natural systems and protection. And then also incorporate hazard mitigation considerations into local plans and regulations. So you start to think about things like, if monies came available, could we convert some things to green space? Could we buy some repetitive loss properties, that type of a thing. After that, it was to develop some specific jurisdiction-specific action plans, things that would fit into this overall grouping that are kind of those projects in the waiting. Some specific, some a little bit more broad. So if funds do come down, we can say, hey, FEMA, we've analyzed this. We know what our potential risks and hazards and vulnerabilities are. And this isn't just us trying to take advantage of some money to spend it willy-nilly. We know where we want to go with it. All of the different jurisdictions have been able to have some input on specific plans that they have in place. And then, it's a living document. It can be expanded as we move forward. The last part of it is really implementation of the plan. So again, tomorrow night, we're going to get public input. That will then translate to a finalized plan. Once we get all of that public input kind of put in there as well. Then we have to apply for FEMA review. So they're going to approve that plan. And then once it's in play, we need all of our local jurisdictions to adopt it. Usually that's in the form of a resolution for each of those jurisdictions. And then we start to look for FEMA money. We start to look for grants. We start to look for a variety of different funding opportunities so that we can put some of these actions into place. This plan is good for 5 years. We will be starting much earlier than that to work on the next iteration of the plan, try and stay in front of that. And really what you want the plan to be is really proactive. So you're not just looking in the rearview mirror. You're trying to figure out where we might be going with hazards and risks. Again, it's been about a year in the works. We're getting towards the end of that. Tomorrow night is our public town hall meeting. It's virtual. You can find that on kentottawahmp.com. Everybody here and all the citizens are welcome to participate in that. And hopefully we'll get some really good feedback.
Commissioners, any questions for Lou? Thank you very much, Lou.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, I'm going to ask HR Director Marcy Verbeek to just quickly address our commissioners on HR issues.
Good afternoon, board. Just a quick update of where the selection committee is on finding a new county administrator. We had 32 applicants put in. We are working with GovHR. And of those 32 applicants, on January 27th, we spent the day interviewing 3 applicants from that pool. One of the things that came about through the process is that we currently had a residency requirement on the posting for the position. In getting your feedback and the current labor market and the current environment and the housing market, we have decided to remove the residency requirement on that position. And that has been reposted through GovHR, and we will be taking applications and resumes until the 15th of February for that position. Any questions?
For Marcy?
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the update.
You're welcome.
Before we go into public comment, I'm going to have a couple board chair comments. I want to thank everyone who participated and supported the Walk for Warmth in Zeeland on Saturday. It was fun to see everyone in person, some fellow commissioners, Commissioner DeYoung, Commissioner Dannenberg, Water Resources Commissioner Joe Bush, plus our treasurer Amanda Price joined in the fun, and we waved to Justin as he was shoveling out his driveway in one of the side streets also.
It
But
was
that,
daddy-daughter breakfast. It was my daughter's birthday.
What's important is that those fundraisers that helped out 76 families with different heating allowances and clothes and different things. So it's pretty neat. Also wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to Dr. Scott Van Slamenbroek for volunteering his time and talent this past Friday, February the 4th, for the mobile dental unit here in Ottawa County. That mobile dental unit was at a specified location, and this program happens every month, and there's a rotating dentist and dental hygienist, and it really increases access to oral health care for at-risk kids. So it's a pretty neat thing that our health department has. As a follow-up from last month's release of our first county newsletter, it has been received extremely positive. Thank you for all your emails and handwritten notes. Yes, handwritten notes that were sent to our county. And our next issue will be sent out in sometime in June. The health department has released KN95 masks that are available at different locations throughout Ottawa County. Ottawa County townships, villages, city offices, local libraries, and the Ottawa County Health Department lobby on James Street. So those are the good masks, those K9 or KN95. So they are until supplies last. And then finally, as you noticed today, a commissioner introduced a faith-based member of our community to give the invocation. Going forward, the commissioners will have the opportunity to give the invocation or invite a faith-based member of our community to do so. So that's just, you'll see a little bit of a change in the invocation process. So with that being said, we'll start our public comment. And I don't know who's up first, Mr. Clerk.
Our first comment is from Julie Chawla Boscraft in Holland.
You're limited to 3 minutes, and please give your name and your address.
Hi, actually, I'm going to turn to Nicole. We have sort of a joint comment.
Oh, this is a tag team.
Yes, is that okay?
Okay, that's
Thank you.
fine.
That's us. Hi, my name is Nicole, and I'm a registered nurse here with AdvisaCare Home Health. I'm also the executive director for our local branch. We, in my branch, service from Holland to Ludington. We're what's called the Lakeshore office. And a little bit about what we do is we specialize in those injured in catastrophic auto accidents. So one of my questions for anyone here in the room is, does anybody know someone who has been affected in a catastrophic auto accident? Okay, well, the sad thing about that is that any one of us could pull out of here today and be one of those clients of ours. And it, as horrible as that is to say, it happens, and it happens daily. So I just want to start by saying that we definitely value the positive changes that the auto reform has made, but we need to fix the negatives that came with the reform. For instance, in 2019, we billed $30 an hour to care for our clients that were affected. And this could be a brain injury, a spinal cord injury, maybe just multiple broken bones. Well, due to the reform, we took a 45% cut. So now we are being reimbursed at $16, maybe $18 an hour. I can't pay my staff that to go out and care for some of my clients, especially those that say have a brain injury where they could be physically aggressive, they could be verbally aggressive. It's hard to pay staff $16 an hour to be punched in the face or kicked in the face, spit on daily. So we, as a company, are not surviving, and a lot of home care companies have closed to this. I just learned of another one today that has closed. And the sad part about that is that the benefit that we all pay for in our auto insurance will be non-existent. There just simply won't be home care companies to take our loved ones home and care for them if something may happen to them. So we are just asking that you would please consider us for the next meeting agenda to discuss the resolution urging the state to amend the reform. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Do I get another 3 minutes?
If this is a tag team, you get another 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Julie Chalabasgraf, and I am actually a Holland resident, and I have been for a few years. And I wanted to come and speak also along the same lines of what Nicole said. I am a consultant in the healthcare industry on the regulatory side of things. So I work with your home health agencies, your nursing homes, your medical practitioners, trying to help them follow the rules. I probably have worked with 200 to 300 home health agencies across the country over the past 25 years. And I do work with AdvisaCare, and this has come to my attention by several of my clients that are shutting down as a result of the regulatory changes that happened. And I know Nicole asked if anyone knows somebody that has been impacted by a catastrophic accident. And there is somebody in the Holland community that's a good friend who was not actually in a car, but he and his family were sitting in a restaurant in Gaylord, Michigan 20 years ago. A car went through the restaurant. His daughter, who was an infant, was catastrophically injured to a point where she, 20 years later, still requires care. And thankfully, over the 20 years, she's had that up until a year ago, where their caregivers can no longer come and take care of her. She cannot be left at home by herself at 20 years old. She still needs assistance with every bodily function. She can't be out for long periods of time. The husband and wife, the husband does work, the wife is not able to work now. She was working outside the home, but is not able to. And they do not have anyone that is willing to come in at the rates that are being paid. What is going to end up happening to a lot of these people is these patients are going to end up in the nursing homes, which is going to stretch the Medicaid system even further, because they will end up on Medicaid because there is nothing else to do. I've also been informed by clients of mine that the level of insurance, of auto insurance coverage that I chose, because I'm in the industry and I see what has happened, I did choose the higher tier. And I have been informed that they do not get a higher reimbursement rate. So if even despite the higher tier of care that I chose, there will not be providers to provide that, because they're not getting paid any different regardless of what you chose. So again, like Nicole said, I just wanted to encourage this to be on an agenda in the future. I think it's urgent that something happens quickly. And we do have some sample resolutions that we can follow up with an email. I did bring some with me that other counties have adopted to move forward and try to address this with the state legislature. But thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you much.
Next public comment is Chris Thule Van Dam from the city of Holland.
Hi, my name is Chris Thule Van Dam. I live in Holland. Since 1994, I've lived all over Ottawa County though. 8 years in Hudsonville, and then 11 years in Allendale, and then the last 7 or so in Holland. And I just want to express my encouragement and affirmation for you as a board in your work with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the significance of that. My day-to-day work is with adolescents, and I'm a regional director for a Christian ministry that works with middle school, high school, and college students. And my geography is from Marquette to South Bend. And I see on a daily basis the significance of the diversity that is happening all across our state, and certainly in Ottawa County as well. So I just want to encourage you in your work. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next comment is Kim Koman from Holland.
Hi, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here today and share my support for the Ottawa County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office and the work that Robin Afric and her team are advancing. My name is Kim Kuman. I'm here as an employee of Miller Knoll, which is located at 855 East Main Ave, Sealand, Michigan 49464, and also as a parent of children who attend school, preschool, and daycare in Ottawa County. In 2019, when the Ottawa County DEI office was put in place, Herman Miller, now Miller Knoll, made significant pledges of support for the formation of this office. Today, we continue to stand firm in our commitment in the work they're advancing across our county and beyond. At Miller Knoll, we believe in DEI, not just by definition, but through the actions we take in our company, across our industry, and around the world where we live and work. And this is especially true here in Ottawa County, where we have been headquartered since our founding in 1905. As local businesses experience the ongoing organizational talent crisis, each of us has a role to play in ensuring our community is welcoming and inclusive for all current and future county residents, employees, and visitors. And for us at Miller Knoll, we value DEI not just as a business imperative, but because we believe in the power of belonging. And the county's DEI office helps us attract and retain talent by creating a healthy, safe, and vibrant community. Divesting from the DEI office would be a disservice to our community, not just for those who live here and work here, but also for those who are looking to one day call Ottawa County their new home. I choose to work at Miller Knoll because of its belief in DEI work, and knowing that the county is also invested in this work makes me more confident in the choice we made in 2018 to move back from London, England, a city, one of the most racially and ethnically diverse cities in the world, to move our family here to West Michigan, where it's not uncommon for me to be one of the only Asian American women in a room, or in this case, two today. If Ottawa County strives to be a place, quote unquote, where you belong, you must continue to invest in policies, practices, programs, and initiatives that live up to that statement for everyone. It's what will bring people into the county and through our doors of our businesses, and what will keep them here. So with that, I implore you to prioritize funding and support for the DEI office. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kim.
The next comment is from Linda Brand in Holland.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Linda Brand, and I'm a resident of Holland, Ottawa County, and I'm here in support of the DEI office as well. And I am a signatory on a letter that was sent to the commissioners probably last week, and about 25 community leaders signed that letter. I'm not here representing that letter, but I am going to pull some excerpts from that letter because it really speaks to how I feel about the DEI office and what it does for our community. I am here as a parent, as a mom, and my kids went to Holland High under Frank Garcia. I shouldn't say they weren't lucky enough to get expelled, but I love your story, Johnny. And we really love this community. So let me just say that I believe that one of the most important factors in establishing and growing a prosperous community is the diversity of people, knowledge, and experience that exists within it. The Ottawa County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office is critical to establishing this environment. And we really appreciate the wisdom of the commissioners when this office was put in place. I was also part of that campaign, and we're just so happy that it's been so successful. Workforce development, tourism, and overall community rely on the work of the Ottawa County DEI office. And I will tell you, I know your jobs are not easy. Long-term sustainability as a community is both a key challenge and an opportunity facing Ottawa County and every community in the nation. And we are a thriving place because of the decisions you all have made, and I thank you for that. Thank you for establishing the Ottawa County DEI office and making that investment to ensure that we remain a welcoming place for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Next comment is Coty Arnold from Spring Lake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am here to talk to you guys about the new Family Justice Center. I have an initiative in mind in regards to the new Family Justice Center. My idea is quite simple. A new Justice Center should equal a new approach to family justice. I myself have been involved in the family justice system since I was 18 years old when my oldest son was born. His mother and I were never married, and subsequently we separated. And with that comes certain laws and frankly inhibitions to my ability to be a father. I did have a speech prepared, but I don't think that it's going to be specifically relevant today, as I have emailed you all, and I do want to work together in seeing this be a change. What it says here is you guys are financing the construction project of the new Family Justice Center here to better serve the community. Well, this is about the best interest of the children. And in my experience of a decade within the court system in 20th Circuit Court, the best interest of the children is not being deemed in that way. I understand that this is not a direct result for you guys. This is a direct result of the laws that have been put in place. This isn't something that is totally in your control. But as a district and a county, we do have an ability to make better choices in the way that we view the laws and the laws that we choose to use to serve our community and most importantly, our children. On the walls in the court, it says truth, justice, and equality. Well, I've experienced a great deal of inequality when it comes to my child and my time with him, as well as specifically the way the system is set up for child support. 25 to 50% of the non-custodial parents' gross income is taken. All the while, I'm relegated to be an every other weekend visitor with my son. My son. That is not justice. That is not equality. And I know, again, this is not on you, but I know that we can work together. We can strive to push to have a proper interpretation of the law, one that has equity and is fair to both parents, and most importantly, to the children. Children don't see money. They see love. They see their parents, and they want their time with both of their parents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cody.
It's all the public comment on our list, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't find a link to register. Could I get public comment?
Yes.
Thank you.
I thought I was on the list too.
Oh, you can go
Well,
before
you go
me.
first. I just don't know if I did. Justin, I think I was on the list.
Yeah, I apologize. Normally, I believe we have Regina from administration is in the lobby. So I don't know how the sign up happened today.
I
but
did
I'm
not
happy
see a
to-
link anywhere, but
Okay,
Your
we'll
call, Mr. Chair.
do. Sure, no problem.
I will try to be really quick because I have the 4 kids out there. So we really want to get out of your hair. This is the last place I want to be, but I'm here because my oldest 2 can't be in school right now because nearly 2 weeks ago, I had COVID for a few days. And because of the health department, they said that since my children are not vaccinated, there's different rules, even though I myself contracted COVID from a fully vaccinated individual. So the health department, they're going away from what the CDC even says. Now the CDC says quarantine for 5 days if you had it, and then for 5 days wearing a mask. School has different rules for children who didn't even get sick. They couldn't even provide a negative test to go back to school. So why is the health department making rules and not following even the CDC and trying to segregate and punish schools who don't have a mask mandate anymore and segregate our kids based on vaccination status? My kids could go to school wearing a well-fitting mask, showing everyone that they're not vaccinated, which is very inappropriate. Let's see, I wanted to also bring up, oh yes, they can go anywhere else. They've been to church, they've been to the gym, they've been to extracurriculars, but they can't go back to school yet. And among their friends, many of their moms and dads have said, you know what, your kids don't have any symptoms, they can still play with my kids. So what are these rules doing? They're unnecessarily policing the schools when kids and families are making their own decisions outside of school anyway. It's not reducing community spread. We have safe and effective vaccines now that everyone has access to. And everybody can get a K95 mask and send their kids to school doing this. So I think it's time for the health department to get back in their lane and let people make their own choices for their health. They're doing it anyway. So that's all I had to say to you. Please rein in the health department. They don't get to make laws and mandates. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gorhart?
I'm sorry, Justin and folks, for not being on the list formally, but my name is Mike Gorehouse. I am here on behalf of the letter that Linda is saying she's not here on behalf, but she really is. I'm coming here today on behalf of Model Community Initiatives, which is an organization, a coalition of public sector, private sector, and nonprofit leaders that did submit a formal letter in support of the DEI office to you all. But I want to come and bring life to that a little bit. I want to share a little bit about what the Model Community Initiatives means when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So let's start with diversity. Our county has always been, and will always be a diverse set of people. Different ages, different races, different faiths. In the past and in the future, we are a diverse set of people. Inclusion is that fundamental human need that we all have, everyone in this room, everyone in our county, to want to belong, to be valued, to be respected, to be included in our community, in our places of work, in our neighborhoods. I believe everyone in this room, and I think everyone in our county feels that need to want to belong. Now, equity. We have achieved equity when no aspect of a person's identity impacts their ability to belong or feel included in our county. In your specific case, I would contend that we as a county have achieved equity when no aspect of a person's identity, their age, race, faith, impacts how they interact with county services and their ability to access those services. My identity should not impact how I experience the health department or how I access parks. And the same should be true for my neighbors as well. But the need to embrace the diversity of our community and ensure equity is not just about you all at county government. This is about all of us and across all aspects of our community. In my experience at the Community Foundation, it takes intentional, focused effort to ensure that our grant making furthers the causes we care about in an equitable way. No aspect of a person's identity should impact the things the foundation invests in. We invest in financial stability, health and safety, education. So we ourselves at the foundation are on our journey to be better about embracing all of our community's diversity, making everyone feel included, and ensuring equitable outcomes. And I am proud that the county is on your own journey to the same goals. And Model Communities is proud that you are on that journey as well, specifically focused on the services that you all provide to our community. So the letter has both those names in the second page, but also builds out a little bit more, but I wanted to come and give a little bit of life to that and really thank you for your leadership and service on a very important topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gorhars. Any other public comment?
I think we're good, Mr. Chair.
We're good? Okay. Well, we'll move right on to approve our agenda. Is there any further discussion on agenda? Seeing none, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Kyers.
Yes.
Mr. Holtmore.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Yes.
Mr. Dannenberg.
Yes.
Mr. DeYoung.
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra.
Yes.
Mr. Terpstra. Mr. Bethel.
Yes.
Mr. Baumann.
Yes.
Mr. Bergman.
Yes.
And Mr. Fenske.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, consent resolutions, Commissioner Dannenberg. Hopefully you can handle all these.
I will do my best. Chairman Fenske, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent resolutions number 1. Through 8? Oh, okay, I missed that 1 through 8. Sorry about that.
Did we get a second on that?
Yeah. I'll second it.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion? Will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Garcia.
Yes.
Mr. Bergman.
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra.
Yes.
Mr. Dannenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Terpstra.
Yes.
Mr. Meppelink.
Yes.
Mr. Holtmore.
Yes.
Mr. Baumann.
Yes.
Mr. Kyers.
Yes.
Mr. DeYoung.
Yes.
And Mr. Fenske.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Public hearings, none. Action items, unbelievable, none. Nice job, John. Appointments, none. Discussion items. We have 4 annual reports. And so the first one is our Equalization Department 2021 annual report presented by Michael Gallagher, the Equalization Director. Hi, Mike.
Hi. Sorry about that. They kind of hooked the hearing aids, taking it off. Learned a long time ago to have these things to bring some water with me because halfway through my throat usually dries out. I'm standing here, so sorry about that. This year's report is the same format it's been for many years. We're going to start on page 7. First, I'd like to highlight that the Ottawa County Equalization Department was honored to receive 3 awards this year. The first one was the very first Department of the Year award from the Michigan Association of Equalization Directors. They recognized the county for the high quality of their work, leadership in the field, and a number of projects. The second was the Distinguished Jurisdiction Award from the Michigan Assessors Association. This was for a project worked on by many in the office and led by Brian Busker. It was a new idea they hadn't thought of that will be helpful to all of them. The third was the 2021 Education Award won by Lori Brazzard. Many years ago, the state required everybody to get annual certification, and there were no classes in this area. So we set up classes here. Over the many years, she's done a very good job of finding classes and putting them together and handling registrations and so forth. So here in Ottawa County, we're kind of blessed. Equalization Department and all the local units work together as a team to make sure it gets done right and done well. That isn't always the case in other counties. We've also enjoyed the support of you on the board to make sure we had the proper tools to do the job right and do it well. So that was quite an honor. Next to page 22. Oh, sorry. Should be paying attention. Side arrow. It doesn't seem to be working. Or my finger's not working, that's more likely. Her finger doesn't work either. Thanks. Must be some energy from my finger or something.
What page?
This is what we were talking about on this page. You can see the 3 awards in the pictures. The top blue one is the Equalization Award. The middle is the MAA Award, and the bottom is the Education. It is kind of unique to receive both awards in the same year from 2 organizations. Just flip to the next screen if you would.
Michael, do they do that with the size and population of the counties? Is that who you're going up against, or do you know?
There are 83 counties, so they just pick the county that they think is doing a good job and a leader in the field and so forth. We had this project the MAA mentioned. They came up with a designated assessor program. Everybody needed the contract. They wouldn't tell you what was in it or how to make it up. We came up with a draft of that, and they used ours as a sample for the other. Those are a couple of things that are examples of that they looked at the whole team for leadership and equalization for. And it's honored to be the first one to receive that award as well.
Oh, absolutely. Nice job. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
We're a department that flies under the radar, and people don't know what we do and don't see us if we're doing it right. If we aren't, you get calls.
Absolutely. I'm sure you would.
So that's good. Thanks. Oh, on this page, all I wanted to show you is the industrial facilities exemption. And you can see the industrial real, there's a lot of investment still going in Ottawa County. Personal property is dropping, it's down to 48 million. That doesn't mean there isn't still a lot of investment in personal in Ottawa County. It's just being shifted to being taxed by the state. By next year, in 2023, most personal property will be off the IFT roll and exempt and be taxed by the state. And you do get some reimbursement for that exemption. Now, just to emphasize, it isn't what it looks like. Investment still going on. We can go to the next page. This is more of the predictions looking into the future stuff. The near future, I was estimating a 6% increase in taxable value for the 22 rolls. And early reviews of the rolls show that maybe around 6.5%. However, I only have half of the true cash value figures in so far, so it could change some. The last year's increase was 4.3. If we look at last year's rate of inflation, it was 1.4, a difference of about 3%. This year's inflation rate was 3.3. At 6.6, it's about 3%. Next year, it's probably no surprise that I would expect the rate of inflation for 2023 taxes to be capped at 5%. It may be higher than that, but we're limited to 5%. There's a couple of reasons why the patterns I just showed you may not follow for 23 roll. The first is if inflation's that high, it's possible, not that it's going to, but it's possible that interest rates could start rising. And when interest rates rise, it kind of dampens the real estate market, dampens the new construction some. The other thing we have that we're looking at for 23, we're in the last year. Sorry. The last year, the Port Shell and Consumers Power settlement. Next year, it comes off that settlement. And this is what I told you. I apologize. What the plant's projected to close in 25, it's we're not quite sure what they're going to have on the roll for 23. So that could be a dampening effect as well. Take care of that and get rid of it. This page shows you the results of our studies in every class and every unit. If you're interested, you go to a certain class and a certain unit and see what we came up with for market value. What's more helpful though is this review by class. And you can see compared to last year, most of the classes are very similar increases to last year, with the exception of industrial. Industrial for the last couple of years have been going up by 10, 11%. This year, industrial is more in line with the other classes. They're all going up similar to last year, just industrial is now similar to the other classes. So decent increases. Next steps. What does this year look like? What challenges are facing the department? Well, the first one, I will be retiring this year. There's more on that later, more to come. But that will mean shifts in personnel and hiring people from the outside, maybe shifts in people inside. They're up to it. They can operate. It's a department where I don't micromanage them. They'll operate just the same and do well, even if after I'm retired. They're not counting on me for a lot. They do a great job of working together and getting things done. But that will make some changes. The department's also in the process of implementing some new software and upgrades to other will be changes in procedures. We do have 3 of our local unit contracts that are up this year. The good news is Josh and Brian ran figures. We presented those figures to the local units for the contracts. They all said that looks good. 2 of the contracts have been through John and Doug. They're out to the local units for their approval. And the 3rd one we'll have soon. They've said yes as well. Hudsonville is up at the end of March. There's plenty of time. And the other 2 are at the end of June. So it's nice that that's kind of up to cruising speed now. For 2 of them, we were able to freeze the last year of the contract's value to begin the new contract, and then simply go up by normal increases. When we first started, there were some units. We did Grand Haven City first, then we did Crocker. We kind of underestimated Crocker, and we had to make some changes. But over the number of years, it's kind of leveled out. And couple of the units, Grand Haven and Crockery, they're all our records. We've seen every single parcel. And we're working on that on the other two. And lastly, as always, I'd like to thank the Equalization Department staff for their cooperative effort. And I'm grateful for their valuable input. Our department, when the pandemic hit, packed up their computers, everybody went home. We turned out the lights. Since that time, because we don't get walk-in customers, everybody's been working from home. And it's worked well because of this, of their dedication and working with each other and cooperating. They still come into the office as teams to work on things, or in the office to work a few days if they'd like, but I'm impressed that it's worked very well and continues to work. I'd also like to thank the local unit assessors for their cooperative effort and willing to work together. Again, that's very unique. And it's possibly partly because the Equalization Department team has won the respect of the local units. They know they can call Brian and get advice, and Josh and get advice, and work together that way. And that's what I had.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks for your service and your hard work. And you haven't left yet, but we're certainly going to miss you. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
Because it's all that work behind the scenes that sometimes isn't visible that really keeps the ship going. So
yeah,
thank you so very much. Commissioners, any questions for Mike?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Commissioners,
Michael, I'm sure that they were required by state statute to publish the yearly 22 Ottawa County what equalization in the paper. Who exactly would be looking forward to reading that once a year?
I think that was from back before the internet.
Well, and that's where I'm going, 'cause I don't know what the cost is to put it in the paper, but it seems to me like it'd be a lot cheaper. We just put it on our website for those few people who actually look for it. Is it something that the legislators are able to propose and maybe change?
That would be nice, yes. Bring it out of the 18th century.
Okay.
We have to post it in the Grand Rapids Press because it's the only one of general circulation throughout the county. And that's like $800-900 for something very few people are going to read.
I just wonder if that's something worthwhile our legislators trying to change. I mean, I happened to look at the paper this week, and I think I saw the list for the Drain Commission, and I'm thinking, yeah. Sure.
I think just the press's lobbyist groups have really lobbied hard to maintain those, honestly, those newspaper public notices.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I just want to reiterate, Mike's done a great job. More on this at our next meeting because he'll be retiring at the end of June, but he's done a fantastic job. And it's sort of one of those departments that, I don't have to worry about, which is just really great. And the other thing, he's right about the local units that we provide assessing services for. I hear from them that his department is doing a fantastic job. And, I don't need to tell you that assessing isn't the world's most popular job when it comes to the public, but they've done a really good job. And our goal there is to provide that service where we neither make money nor lose money. And we've slowly started to increase the number of units, and it's something that it's a service we offer. If they don't want it, that's fine. If they do, we'll be happy to provide it. But just a shout out to Mike and his department. They do a great job, and they've stayed below the radar, but that doesn't negate the fact that they've done an excellent job.
Good job, Michael.
Well, thanks.
Thanks. Next, we have a presentation for innovation and technology. Paul Klimas.
Aaron Bose is going to step in for Paul. Paul's a little under the weather today.
Normally you would have the charismatic Paul Klimas, but yeah, fear not. I have some talking points that he sent me though. So. This is mostly just a quick summary of the annual report. I believe the details are in the actual packet. Just some quick statistics with 1,328 users in 1,560 PCs. We have 300 servers and hundreds of applications that are spread out across those servers, both on premise and in the cloud. So with all those moving parts, we have the maintaining, the upgrading, the patching servers, the upgrading databases, retiring legacy systems, and also hardware that needs to be retired. It keeps us pretty busy. Some of the major changes in the last 2 years that we've gone through, it's been just a lot of changes in these last 2 years, not just to mention from getting the new director with Paul and kind of changing systems, but also with, intermixing COVID within there. It's definitely brought some different changes for us. We've moved more, and this couldn't have been better timing, along with the industry standard through technology. So moving to that industry standard allows us to keep up with what other organizations that uses technology do as well. So one, making it easier for us to hire new employees, not just for IT, but also in the county, where they may be coming from organizations that have used that technology previously. Before that, I know we were engaged a lot in custom development, and that certainly made it very difficult to replace some of those positions. Sustainability of capital management and augmented support. Enhanced technology just to support business automation. A lot of that came through our Office 365 purchase. Continued technical business continuity. So a lot with security is ever changing. So upgrading security and disaster recovery measures were put in place, which were in place previously, but certainly enhanced in the last 2 years. Our department's gone through quite a bit of maturing. This has been through solidifying and kind of tuning security and operational changes, rolling out business automation tools to departments that previously didn't have those. Like I said, a lot of that's come with the Office 365 licensing and the version of Office 365 that we purchased. Let's see. Some of the highlights, we've enhanced, we had digital signatures previously, but we've certainly enhanced the digital signature capability by marrying that with our content management system, which most of you may know of as OnBase. So having those two is just a kind of a natural fit for each other. A lot of the document imaging that we currently do goes through workflow processes where digitally that paper process will flow through multiple departments or multiple people. Whereas prior, you'd have to, print that out, sign it, scan it back in, and get it back into the workflow system. These are now automated within the system, so it never has to come out of the workflow. Like I said before, the purchases of Office 365 and how we've engaged the users with training sessions internally with IT. We were kind of the guinea pigs with that. So we took it for a few months, got to learn it really well, and then started rolling that out to other departments. We wanted to make sure we were there for any questions that would come in. And a lot of these departments have really taken that and run with it. So, I mean, there's even times now where I'll call our parks department because they've really taken that SharePoint and ran with it. So if I have questions, I'm asking, our parks department, which is pretty amazing when you think of just the kind of where we've come with the technology. A lot of the collaboration tools, SharePoint being one of them, the internal intranet through SharePoint. Teams has been a big advantage for a lot of departments. I see a lot of departments using Microsoft Teams now too, as part of that Office 365 suite. That is more of a project and task management software, but also works great with collaboration. I know we got into when the COVID started and we started sending people home, we were using Zoom, but we were just getting into that and into stride with Teams. And that's used a lot internally, which allows us to not only just communicate, but also share files and projects in remote locations. So it doesn't have to be internal or it doesn't have to be in here workforce. The Azure services, which is basically your Microsoft cloud. server hosting, database hosting for most of the databases we have for the applications are SQL Server, which is a Microsoft product that can be hosted in the Azure services, cloud storage, data warehouse, and messaging services. One of the newer technologies that we're just starting to experiment with and pilot is Microsoft Chatbot. And basically what that is some of the pilot tests we did is really you can ask the question where the chatbot is pointed to a database that can provide you with an answer and steers you in the right direction. So as these queries are pointed to different databases, use the example of if someone was to come in to get a CLP, or if someone were to go online and ask about where they could register for a CLP, it'll add, the first thing it'll ask back is this a registration of a new CLP, or is this a renewal of a CLP? So it'll take those different paths to kind of lead you to the right answer, which then they're not taking up time of another person, say down in the clerk's office. So it works both ways. They also, if they're in that, they're not getting where they want, they can back out of that and also then contact with a person in the clerks as well. So that was just the pilot we ran for Microsoft Chatbot. To enhance that, what we've done internally is use that in combination with another tool called Microsoft Bookings. So you can use the chatbot all automated into scheduling an appointment with someone where, since it's all in the same environment, hooked to like your Outlook email, you can look in your calendar, see what times you have available, and then schedule those times. But that's a little ways out yet. I think we're just experimenting with that right now, so that's a bit premature. The multi-cloud gives us that ability to adapt to changes in the technical environment through scaling our technical infrastructure, which is great. So not relying necessarily completely on the supply chain, this gives us that ability to use that multi-cloud for server storage, software, whatever we want to put up there. If it's something that we want to avoid ordering a physical server, maintaining that server, doing configuration on that server, and then long-term maintenance and retirement. Let's see, some of the kind of what the mission is just that our goals should remain strategic and sustainable throughout. And we've done that before, and that's kind of the same direction we're headed. And we face a lot of the same challenges that we did, years ago, and that's with security, which is always a moving target. That ability to adapt to new security threats, building out that collaboration architecture that we have through Microsoft 365, which is your SharePoint and your Teams, and getting that more out into departments where everybody's using it on the same platform. Another challenge is obviously the hybrid office, the remote workforce. We feel we've done a pretty good job with that, with the Office 365, and also some of the other tools that we've implemented over the past 2 years. Talent development is always difficult. I know it's difficult everywhere, but I feel particularly in IT, it's very difficult. I think that's one more reason why aligning with that industry standard is really helpful, because you're looking at a pool of potential future employees that have been in that standard system. So, and then obviously the supply chain, that's going to be a issue for the foreseeable future as well. That's all I have.
So how did we do on the security thing? You sent out some sort of a survey to us. Did any of us get caught on that or not?
I'm not at liberty to discuss names, but yeah, there were a few that get caught in there. I don't believe any commissioners were on that list.
Okay.
That I know of. So.
Any questions?
Just want to say IT's doing a good job, and you mentioned supply chain, and so we had this goal of trying to replace, for example, laptops every 4 years, and that's going to be difficult given the current supply chain issues right now. And then just last on the security, I know we've been doing constant security enhancements, two-factor authentication. We're going to go to a process to make passwords harder to crack, which will be less convenient for us, but we're doing our best to hopefully not be one of those organizations that gets involved in a ransomware attack or something like that. So a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you just don't see. So
Yeah, have to be very agile with that and kind of move with, the latest technology. So.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. No worries, John. No, but actually it's about the same thing, the password self-service. How has it been? I mean, I'm sure it's a convenience, but has there been any security issues around that or?
We, within our system, our Active Directory, there's a little work we have to do before we get to that point where we can start moving closer to that place where we can imply those or at least add those rules into the system to where you can't use happy 1 2 3 and then 3 months later happy 1 2 3 4. It's so those would be some of the rules that
So specifically with John.
I know. Hopefully
can't reveal that.
I think I just gave my administrative password out. So. But it's so there's a little bit of work to be done in our Active Directory before we can move to that step. So I think we're just a little ways off of that, but we're definitely moving forward toward that.
Well, thanks for keeping us going. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next, we have our Ottawa County Community Mental Health 2021 Annual Report. Lynn Doyle, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'm gonna see. Well, once we get my PowerPoint up, let's see if my arrows work.
Do you have a video for us today?
I have two.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I'll try to make it brief. The videos are brief as well. Okay. So again, thank you for giving me a couple of minutes to review some of the awesome work that we're doing at CMH. This report looks a lot like the reports we've done in the past couple of years. We're trying to keep the format the same. And I know you've all had an opportunity to look at this, so I'm not going to go in total detail with all of the information on here, but I'm going to skip around just a little bit. That first graph there on the right is the number of people we've served in 2020. And as you can see, we continue to grow. The requests for services continue to grow. We had a slight decline in 2020, excuse me. And that we're attributing that to COVID and people not wanting to come into our office and listening to the suggestions that they stay at home. But then in 2021, our numbers have bounced right back up, and we have weeks where we have more people requesting services and are scheduled for access intake appointments than we've ever seen. So it's good that people are seeking services. We're having a challenge keeping up, especially given that there is a scarcity of staffing, especially with some professions like masters and social work, but we're doing the best we can. These next slides talk about our revenue and our expenses. The graph on the left there, our revenue, as always, is mainly coming out of Medicaid. Our general fund has increased in 2021, which is a good thing. Medicaid as well increased pretty significantly, which is good. We've had years past, obviously, where our revenue was not where it should be. And we were in a situation where we didn't have enough money to pay for all the services we were providing. The other thing to note for our revenue is we have really increased our grant funding. We specifically set out to find additional dollars, and in the last couple of years, 2021 included, we've been awarded some pretty large grants from SAMHSA.
our system of care for kids and families in Ottawa, and CCBHC, which is a certified community behavioral health center, are both grants that brought in several million and will continue over the next couple of years, hopefully with extensions even past that. Our expenditures typically, as you can see from the last couple of years, most of our dollars are going to serve people with developmental disabilities. Those are folks who typically have high cost and high levels of need, oftentimes long-term care, living in group homes, et cetera. And those graphs on the lower part of that slide are our substance use disorder revenues and expenditures. This graph has a lot of this page has a lot of information on it, but mainly those boxes talk about the things that we're currently using millage dollars for. Quite a bit of good work. We've had the millage dollars for several years, so the grants, the programming that we are funding are all well on their way to being mature programs and attracting people to those supports and services that we wouldn't otherwise be able to provide. So having said that, I'm going to go back just a few pages and I'm going to show you a short video. This video talks about one of our programs that we're supporting with millage dollars through a specialized residential fund. Over the last couple of years, our providers who work in the group home settings have let us know that they're having pretty significant challenges finding staff. COVID made that much worse to the point where our direct care worker shortage truly was in a crisis situation. So they let us know that they needed some additional funding, and we were able to provide that additional funding through millage dollars. So this program is one of the programs that those dollars go to support, and the program is the drop-in center at my brother's and my sister's house.
The drop-in program was created out of a need for some place where our friends could go.
Well, the drop-in program is pretty much people or residents that are either live here with us or they are residents that are from other houses.
We have 2 homes that have ladies living in them, and we've got 3 homes that have gentlemen living in them. What was happening was, as these individuals got jobs, their schedules became different. So we have some that start at noon, some that come home at 2. We had individuals that didn't have a day program or didn't have a job to go to. So they needed some place to stay during the day. And that's how the drop-in program started.
I like coming here because like hanging out with my friends, basically, because like seeing them because I don't see them too often, or at least each week. And we just like goof around, play, like I said, play games. You just have fun. I mean, that's just what it is. I love it.
Sometimes we do baking and show us how to bake and measure stuff out. Crafts, there's science. If it's nice weather, we go outside or play bingo.
Walking around or volunteering. We have some volunteer sites that we go to. So things like that. We set it up so that it would be life enriching for them.
Something to do during the day. Not being in our house.
A lot of our friends do have part-time jobs and they enjoy seeing people every day.
I work at Party City. I work there Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then I come here on the drop-in program on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Mondays I work at CMH on James Street in A building. I help the QI people scan charts.
For the ones that don't have that, just getting them out into community and being able to chit chat with people they don't know or they haven't seen in a long time. It's very important that our community knows that they are part of it as well. But it's also important for them to know that they are part of this community as well too. We have been very thankful with the millage dollars that we've been given to help support the staffing here. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be able to do this. We have some wonderful donors, but that has definitely helped us be able to have the program that we have, engage with our friends that we do during the day and get them out into community. Because if we didn't have enough staff, we wouldn't be able to go out in community. And that's one of our biggest things. We want to open up their world and make sure that they are able to be a part of it.
Thanks. So I think videos just do an amazing job of letting you guys know what we do and the kinds of people that we work with on a daily basis, way better than I could ever explain to you up here talking. I'm gonna give you one, well, maybe not. All right, my video stopped, or my slide stopped moving along.
Hold the other hand up.
How about you do that? Yeah, there we go, thank you. All right, so this page talks about a couple of the grants that we've received this year. The Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program, COSAP, if you don't want to say all those words, is a program that we're currently running out in the jail. Helping our inmates to not only get treatment, substance use disorder treatment, but also therapy, medication, some case management and assistance when they go out back into the community. So a great partnership with the jail and our law enforcement. And then I'm going to show you one last video. I apologize if I'm going over my 10 minutes, but you probably heard a little bit about this. I don't know if there's Vale's still here, are great partners with the Sheriff's Office and Holland Police Department. We have been able to start a new program called the Crisis Intervention Team. And it's a team that's going out into the community and helping individuals who might have mental health issues, behavioral health issues, in conjunction with our law enforcement partners. And this video was actually done by Holland Police Department, and we asked if we could borrow it because they did such a great job.
The crisis intervention team is made up of myself, as well as an Ottawa County Sheriff's Deputy and 2 community mental health workers with Ottawa County Community Mental Health.
We're there to assist resources, to offering mental health assessment and evaluation on site if possible, with the goal of not having to take a person to jail or even to the hospital if it's not necessary.
Our department has noticed that we've responded to a large number of calls for people in some kind of mental health crisis. So by having this team, we can better treat those people.
I'm a clinician with the Ottawa County Crisis Intervention Team. The Crisis Intervention Team works collaboratively.
The 2 clinicians split our kind of location. So one of us is typically at Holland Public Safety, and the other one is with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Deputy.
We respond to suicidal calls, someone having mental issues, overdoses, check well-beings. Sometimes we are the first responding officers to calls.
You know, if we're on a call and an individual is having a mental health crisis or they have homelessness or food insecurity, there's things that we can do right then and there.
So how can we divert from jails when appropriate? How can we divert from hospitals when appropriate to even lessen the load at the other end?
We do that by talking to them. You know, you open up that conversation about what are the needs and what the issue is at hand. So the crisis intervention part kind of means temporary or trying to give some stability until we can hook someone up with more long-term resources. It is a unique program to Ottawa County. We're the first of this kind in Ottawa County. We've actually been doing co-response since mid-September.
As I've gone through CIT training, I think it's really helped me develop some of my communication skills as well as my empathy.
We went to Detroit. Wayne County hosted us. It was a 40-hour-long CIT training. So we were there for a week and we were able to participate in various scenarios, scenario training, and just topic training, and kind of focusing on de-escalation and community resources.
The human connection and empathy are important as far as that connection. And when we go out as a team, it's helpful because We have a very limited time to build that trust and rapport, but part of that is just having the time to listen.
The biggest difference has been noticed in people's reactions to when we may show up on scene versus just when a normal officer does, that we're able to not have any time constraints and sit with them for an hour, sometimes two, when our law enforcement agencies are better trained and when we have the ability to respond as clinicians. It tries to put everybody in a better place moving forward.
All right. And with that, I'm done unless anyone has any questions.
Lynn, how many employees for the Ottawa County Mental Health are you short? As in, you need to hire.
Well, our directly hired, I believe we currently have maybe 8 open positions. We've had some success in the last week or two in getting some clinical staff in. Our contractual providers who, in a lot of ways are our employees as well, through contract are still continue to struggle greatly with direct care workers and recruiting those staff.
Is because they probably offer less benefits than what the county would?
Definitely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Lynn?
We kind of went from a financial issue to now, we've seen a demand for mental health services go up and having a harder time filling some of those positions to have the staff to actually cover that increased demand. So we're seeing some of the challenges shift right now from, when I got here, it was a money issue, and now it's really morphed into more of a
People
issue and
yeah.
having enough staff to provide those services. So.
Well, it says a lot about John solving the money issue.
It does. I appreciate it, John.
I know it's been a long meeting. I don't want to add to its length, but historically, you were the social net for society, the commissioners. And with the emergence of federal and state welfare programs, the only thing we have left at the county is really mental health. And what's been lost in that great transition and all the additional funding in the welfare system is the direct connection between community need and community organizations like CMH to respond to that need in a personal way that you saw in those videos. The system is under attack in Lansing, and there's an effort to privatize the last remaining social welfare net at the county level. And misinformation is being circulated. The suggestion is we need to privatize it. Well, we already have a blended private public system. We don't provide all these services publicly. Most of them are provided by private parties through contract. We have thousands of contracts that come out of Lynn's department. So we're already taking the best of the private sector and we're managing it in the public sector. We're going to lose that public sector management. I can't tell you what a threat that is to the people you saw in the videos, because private profit is going to control, it's going to control in Detroit or Chicago or wherever these large companies that will fill in. And other states have tried it, like Iowa, and it was a disaster because of the vulnerability of the people and the fact that you can't serve them with profit as a motive. So when you see these bills that are percolating in Lansing, remember, it's misinformation to say that, we have a whole public system and it's time to privatize it. And we really need to support Lynn and this organization so we don't lose that key connection that we have to those most vulnerable in our society, which are the developmentally disabled and the mentally ill. I'll get off my soapbox.
If there's any class of people we should be taking care of,
Yes.
it's that group.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lynn, for your report. Next is our Ottawa County Facilities Maintenance Department Annual Report. Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
As
You've now lightened up the load on
Yeah,
Mr. Shea, even though he loved to do it.
yeah.
My plan was to go along as the painter of the county for as long as possible.
I
John,
was getting
John
pretty good
kinda-
with the mop though.
Yeah.
We all give
I
him
mean-
credit for that.
He's still pretty good. All right, let's go fast. So I wasn't here for a lot of 2021, so in the report, I thought, let's just do kind of a history lesson because it actually helped me out. So here we go. There we go. Hey, I was hired in June as a project supervisor or project manager and maintenance supervisor. There we go. And then I became what I am today. Our budget for 2021 was 4.9 million, staff of 17 employees. We've had some ups and downs over the course of the last 6-7 months. We did have one customer service award winner, Dave Bossy, and a couple customer service nominations. Those were prior to me. Our maintenance staff, Dave Bossy, Tom Camburn, Tim Deckinga, Dick DeWitt, Frank Archer, Juan Lopez, Matt Twan, Dan Vanderleest, John Vargo, and Gary Kessler. One thing you'll notice in our staff is over the course of the next probably 4 to 5 years is there's going to be a lot of turnover due to longevity of employees, people looking to retire. Custodial staff, I don't know how old that picture of Doug Moss is, but it's from a while ago. And Alex's might be just as old. Ron, Cal takes care of the James Street facility, Justin obviously over here at the detention, Alex at this building, and Ron does our Grand Haven courthouse. Administrative support staff, Janine is our senior secretary and Diane is our clerk. 21 projects that were done. We put some new rooftop units, kind of trying to get ahead of the massive failure and cost at the Fulton Street facility that has the CMH build or the CMH program and the public defender in it. I think we still have two older units up there that we need to get to. In Holland, when I shortly after I came on board, Lori down there at the court wanted to do something with this space on the southeast corner of the building there. There's a picnic table for staff to use as an outdoor space. That's a very teeny piece of grass in the downtown 8th Street district. So we're going to create a staff patio down there. We started, the concrete's poured. We ran out of year to get the fence due to supply chain issues. But we're going to create a kind of courtyard patio down there for the staff. Some landscaping and some fencing to try to keep, public tend to use the area because it's close to the sidewalk. And when staff want to go out there, it's often full. Treasurer's remodel, added a conference room down. There we go. Added a conference room down here in the treasurer's area, got rid of some ramps that were in there to make the space more usable for the staff, reconfigured some of their cubicles, and to my knowledge, Amanda is happy. Hudsonville District Court, that has been a behemoth of a struggle. This was started, I think, in November of 20. Everything is installed at this point. Our contractor is a little less than responsive, and we're working through programming details in the boring side of the HVAC world. It just doesn't work right, and it's all in the programming and engineering of how the system should work. But the roof is really nice. Shouldn't leak for 25 years. Other things that we did this past summer, we paved a new parking lot at DHS down on James Street. The front area of the jail got redone as well. We started the night watch card access upgrade. Phase 1 is underway. New panels are being installed. That will, phase 1 has to be done June 1st of this year. And then we'll start phase 2 to add all the 160 roughly doors that will be new for the card access. I anticipate about 6 months to do the phase 2. We continue to add camera coverage for safety and security across the county. And through the SEPTED committee, we continue to actively address issues across the county and increase our security and awareness and safety updates in buildings. Work order statistics, we do a lot of them. Total work orders last year was 8,615. That would be combined preventative maintenance and call-in work requests. Estimated PMs for next year, 3,580. These numbers probably don't mean a ton other than as our equipment gets older, the work orders tend to increase because even in between PMs, our workload increases due to failure. So we try to stay ahead of that by like what John had done at Fulton Street, which was replace units before they get to that catastrophic failure state. Ottawa County buildings. This is where the history comes in for me. Took me a while to get to all these. Community mental health on James Street. It was built in 1977. It houses outpatient mental health services and services for people with developmental disabilities. It costs us about $1.76 a square foot per month, per month to operate this from a utility standpoint, gas, electric, and those things. There wasn't a remodel done to that front entry recently, 2012-ish maybe. Okay. Rest of the building's kind of old. The administration building was built in 1998. C Wing was put on in 2008. Cost us $1.58 a square foot to operate this building. This is a newer building, obviously. The Board of Commissioners are housed here, Clerk and Register of Deeds, Treasurer's Office, Sheriff's Office, County Administration. The OCJ and juvenile detention and adult detention. Year built, Region 1, the original part was built in 94, Phase 2 was in 98, and what we have here today is 2005. As you notice, this costs significantly more to operate. That is mostly due to it's a 24/7 facility. The lights never shut off. The air conditioning and heat never really cut back. This is probably our biggest single source, obviously due to use of work order requests. Public health, C building. Built in 1987, it houses clinical health services, community health services, environmental health, community action agency, clerk and register of deeds also has a little slice in there. $1.20 a square foot roughly to operate this per month. Fulton Street. That one was built in 1974. It had a rehab in 2004. Utility cost per square foot is $1.34. Partners in the Lakeshore Regional Entity Network, emergency and non-emergency resources for mental health, and the public defender is housed in there now. Department of Health and Human Services, DHS. This was built in 1998. Sits in the back corner of James Street. Kind of often people can't find it. Cost of utilities per square foot is $1.22. Medicaid, Medicare services, migrant services, housing and homeless services, adult and children's services, children and adult protective services are also housed in that building. Basically, a lot of that building is leased out to the state of Michigan. Hudsonville District Court, built in 1977. The addition that you see there today was 2005, about double the size of the square footage. Cost of utilities is $1.72 per square foot per month to operate the court, which also has the 58th District Court, the 20th Circuit Court, probate court, clinical health services, clerk, register of deeds, probation. There's a public health section in there, and the Georgetown branch of the Sheriff's Department is housed in there as well. Grand Haven Courthouse. Year built 2009, cost of utilities per square foot is $1.67 per month. 58th District Court, 20th Circuit Court, probate court, clerk, register of deeds. And that's probably one of our our biggest and fanciest building. Holland District Court. That was built in 2005. 58th District, 20th Circuit, probate court and friend of the court. That building is, we just put some new rooftops on that building as well, trying to beat the end of life cycle on rooftops. B building, here's an exciting one. Cost of utilities per square foot is $1.02. Outpatient mental health services, services for people with developmental disabilities, training center for the Lakeshore LMS, and the Juvenile Justice Institute is in here as well. This building will be getting a massive exterior upgrade this summer due to poor construction on the exterior for lack of anything else. The weep holes were filled with concrete, which has caused water backing up and large cracking and shifting in the block exterior, causing doors to not work properly. So we're going to clean all that up, put a new exterior on it, and make it not leak anymore. And it'll be quite modern looking by the time it's done. We're going to use metal architectural panels on the outside. Looking forward into 22, obviously the new Family Justice Center will be a large undertaking. The B building exterior, we're doing a remodel on the mental health administration in A building. Public health is getting a clinic remodel in C building. Courthouse security stations, that's trying to kind of get to a single point of entry, keep everybody safer inside the courthouses. The card access will continue on in phase 1 and 2. And one that we've recently enjoyed since I've been here is the lack of generator power at this complex. We'll be looking into how to upgrade that so that we can keep goods and services open for everybody. Questions?
And this question might be more for John, maybe help me. The public defender, wasn't that at the DHS
Yeah,
building?
it still is. They have a branch there
Okay.
and in Grand Haven.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Albeit we have a lot of buildings, there is one thing that I've noticed in my short time here is we have a lot of buildings, but not a lot of space. A lot of departments, even though we're struggling for staffing in a lot of departments, we have a lot of departments who are just at their max. They could add staff to get help, but there's nowhere to put the staff. So that's kind of where that's at. So
Commissioner Zalesky.
Blake, what is it? There's seem to be some difference between utility costs per square foot at different buildings.
Mhm.
What's kind of the major determinant for utility costs?
The utility costs, when I was going through and doing all that, what I looked into was one would be type of construction, use of building. A lot of the, as we've touched on, a lot of the departments, depending if they can work from home remotely, are they only in there 1 day a week? Are they providing full services? Like B building is a very low cost building per square foot. It's pretty small. And there's not a lot of people in there. So they're the way they've changed their service structure in the last year. The newer the building, in theory, the newer the building, the more energy efficient it should be, the cheaper it should be to run. That doesn't hold true on all of those.
Yeah, I didn't see, I was thinking
Yeah.
that maybe it was a determinant, but it didn't seem to be as you went through.
And some of that could be age of the, if you have an older building with newer HVAC, it may be running more efficiently. Depending on the square footage of the building and how it's divided up. Is it, do you have like Grand Haven Courthouse? We have some big areas that we have to treat, I guess, for lack of a better term, heating and air conditioning that aren't always used, but they still have to be maintained. So things like that, I think in your bigger buildings are what lead to that.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Blake?
Yeah, Blake's done a great job, has great communication with the other departments because really his primary customers are the other departments. So he's done a great job, and it's one of those things where as long as the lights are on and everything works, they sort of stay under the radar. So they've done a really good job there.
That's-
Clocks will be on time now, John?
That's an IT issue.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never heard that before.
Paul's not here.
Okay.
Thank you for your report. Okay, moving on, we've got report from the county administrator, Mr. Shea.
Just a couple updates. One on the ARPA task force. We'll have a meeting in March because the request for proposals for bucket managers, you know, the county bucket, broadband bucket, human service, business need. We're seeking proposals for organizations to manage each of those buckets. Those proposals are due February 14th, and we'll be evaluating those at our March meeting. The Family Justice Center, we have had a couple budgetary meetings to see if the estimated costs will come within budget, and we're still working on that. The MAC Legislative Conference is in Lansing from March 21st through 23rd, and I think Stephanie is signing up some of the commissioners that will be going to that. Trying to see if there's anything else. And just a general thing with the annual reports you see here and the other ones you'll see in the future and the customer service award. We got a lot of great employees and leaders here, and it's just we're real fortunate to have that. And I think a lot of them are really unsung in terms of what they do. So I just want to express appreciation for what they do. So that's what I have.
Thank you. General information, comments, meetings attended. Commissioner DeYoung.
Mr. Chairman, this past Thursday, I was asked to speak to Student Senate at Grand Valley State University, and it was just a wonderful time when I called and talked to the Vice President of Student Senate and asked about issues and stuff that would be interested, these young people would be interested in. And I was going to come and brag about our newsletter, by the way, which I did, but they said to me, Greg, we're really interested in your DEI program. And so what I did then is I invited our director, Robin, to come with me to the Student Senate and address these young people. I had about 10, 12 minutes talking to them about a lot of things that are going on here that are positive, about the ARPA fund and our park system and our sheriff department, the young lady from Allendale, the deputy who saved somebody. And so just a lot of good positive things. And then Robin took over and did a wonderful report on our DEI program. And the young people there really were mesmerized by her knowledge and the work that she's doing. So that was, maybe a half hour altogether. And as we went to leave, out in the hallway came again, the Student Senate President, and then Dr. Erin Haight. She's the Associate Vice President for Student Services. And they said, would you guys consider coming back and holding a Board of Commissioners meeting on the campus? We did it a couple of 3-4 years ago. It kind of went by the wayside with COVID. So my encouragement today is that if this group would consider meeting on the campus sometime before the students get out, they only have, I think, 2 more Student Senate meetings, March and April. So we'd have to try to facilitate this to their April meeting on the campus. We would invite, this group, of course, and they would have some people from Grand Valley, the president, some of the staff and stuff. And it just to be a great way to build relationships, get to know each other a little bit better. I mean, they're a large employer here in Ottawa County. They're one of our largest educators in the county, if not the largest. So it's just something that I hope that we could consider. They would really like to have us on the campus for a board meeting.
Yeah. Mr. Shea, what's your thought on that as far as logistics and ability to pull that off?
Well, we just got the contact information, so we'll follow up with Grand Valley on that. I did want to, and I don't know the answer to this, is to what extent, if any, Grand Valley has the ability to hold this meeting via Zoom or live stream. So, the possibility exists, don't know this yet, that if we do this, it may be just an in-person only meeting, depending on the technical capabilities of whatever room we would be in at Grand Valley. So I just wanted to put that possibility out. If that's not an issue, that's fine. But, we plan to follow up with Grand Valley and see if we can organize something in April. but just don't know their technical capability as to whether or not there can be a live stream or a Zoom component to this meeting, or if it would simply be, an old-fashioned in-person meeting.
Right.
And so I want all of you to be cognizant of that.
So commissioners, what's your thought on this? Because this is a united front. We'd all be there, including that clerk guy over there. He'd be there too. So, I mean, is this something that we would be interested in doing again?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think it's a great idea. I just want to make sure that Hope College gets also on the list as well. I know we met at Grand Valley 3 years ago and we were planning to meet for Hope, but then literally COVID did happen and prevented that. So
We've reached out twice to Hope College. We have not heard
Oh,
a
wow,
response
okay.
back to them.
Okay.
They have not responded back to our inquiries.
Okay.
Other commissioners, what do you think?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
You good?
Yeah.
That kind of a
I think
straw
it-
vote?
I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
It really brings in that next generation and getting them involved in county business and seeing how things work. I think it's an excellent idea.
Is that, it would be the second meeting perhaps if we did this in April?
Yeah, I don't know the date of the student senate, but you said, either March or April would work. So I think that's just one of the logistical details we'll work out with them as to which meeting it would be. And again, we'll also inquire about their capability, if any, to live stream or Zoom. So again, it could be just a traditional in-person meeting, or it could be what we do here. But we'll work out those details as to which of the meetings, depending on their availability.
Okay, very good.
And if I may, to be accommodating to this group meets on the campus. They meet on Thursday afternoons. They meet at 4:30. Okay, and that's why we were talking about it way now. So we would have to have our meeting either before their meeting, and then a little bit of time, that's what we did in the past, a little time to meet and greet and what have you, and they would go into their meeting. Or, we could do our meeting before or our meeting afterwards, but we'd have to put a notice out to the public ahead of time that we're not going to be meeting on Tuesdays. We'll meet just for this one meeting on Thursday afternoon at the Kirkhoff Center and give people enough idea where it is. And parking passes, and there's some logistics to it, but we can get it done.
Okay. All right, well, very good. Thank you. Any other comments or meetings attended from commissioners? Seeing none, we'll go right into our second opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody presently in the audience here that would like to address the commissioners? Under Sheriff, interested? Anybody on Zoom?
We do have one public comment on Zoom, and that is Harvey Nickel. If we could, Harvey, just asked you to unmute. All right, you should be coming through. Are you there, Harvey?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Harvey Nickel. I live at 7513 23rd Avenue, Tennessee. I hope that you have viewed the video that I sent to you showing Senator Ron Johnson's roundtable called COVID-19, a Second Opinion. I'm sure you were shocked to hear about the 3 military doctors who reported under oath that miscarriages are up by 300%. Cancer is up by 300%. Neurological issues are up by 1,000% after the COVID vaccinations. I hope you were abhorred by Dr. Christina Parks' story about how the hospital essentially killed her father by refusing to give him the medicine and the treatments that would have saved his life. There are thousands of similar stories about how family members are not allowed to advocate for proper treatment for the loved ones, and how remdesivir is administered against their wishes. The CDC approved a protocol of giving remdesivir, which destroys the kidneys. Then the patient is placed on a ventilator, and very few survive this treatment. The hospitals refuse to give ivermectin, even though there is so much evidence that it works. Over 20 countries have essentially eliminated deaths from COVID by using ivermectin, and documents released by the Department of Defense verify that it is effective throughout all phases of illness because it both inhibits the viral replication and modulates the immune response. All of this information is being censored by the mainstream media and big tech in collusion with Big Pharma, the CDC, NIH, and our own government. Scientists are not allowed to publish their findings. Doctors are being threatened with the loss of their medical license. And anyone who speaks the truth is banned from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. However, the truth is out there. And I strongly suggest that you go to the website timetofreeamerica.com to get more information about COVID-19 and this evil agenda. The VAERS report now lists over 23,000 deaths from these shots. Life insurance companies have reported a 400 to 600% increase in payout since the COVID vaccinations began. So what can you do? You have taken an oath to the Constitution, which means that it is your duty to interpose, stand in the gap, and protect the citizens of Ottawa County from the unconstitutional mandates and tyrannical rules of the federal government and Ottawa County Health Department. You need to fire all the decision makers of the health department and replace them with individuals who will follow the Constitution and the actual science. They need to stop all mask and vaccine mandates, especially for children, and demand that the hospitals use successful treatments such as ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, hydroxychloroquine, budesonide, and the protocols of the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Harvey. Seeing none, we don't have any other.
Comment. We do, I'm sorry.
Or do we have somebody else?
We do have one more public comment.
Okay.
On Zoom.
Thank you.
Jewel Wickman. And Jewel, if you could just unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Hi, thank you so much for your time. To all the commissioners and Lynn Doyle, I sent an email with a detailed list of concerns and questions revolving around particularly adults in the IDD division that would be adults with autism. As you know, that this is the highest revenue source for the county is DAB, which stands for Disabled, Aged, and Blind. However, the support services are not there. They're not receiving the care and the programming that I think that the board is led to believe. So we're asking for more attention given to how adults with autism are being treated in the community, and if they're being encouraged to stay home and in the community versus in residential specialized living group homes or institutional institutions, which run anywhere between 100,000 to 300,000 per individual, when it costs way less to keep consumers at home with their parents and in the community. This is not something, self-determination is not something that Lynn Doyle and the CMH management team are behind. So we're asking for the CMH board to look at the person-centered plan process, look at self-determination, ask the questions, what are the people receiving specifically, what services are the people receiving, especially during COVID? I mean, if IDD is getting the most funding, then why aren't the consumers feeling that? And I urge the board to ask those important questions. And also, there is a national shortage of staffing. However, we are not being supported by Lynn Doyle and her management team to retain the services that are working for our children. We're being limited while social workers are being are allowed uncapped rates at as much as $793 per hour. But then direct care workers are limited to $6.05 per 15 minutes. So we're asking you, urging you to look into the practices of Lynn Doyle and her CMH management team and how this trickles down to what you say is the most vulnerable population that you are meant to protect and provide for. And again, this is taxpayer money, so we urge you, please look at how your adult IDD population is being served by CMH. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any further county business, so we'll stand adjourned.